So hello everyone, my name is Rose Simpson. I'm a librarian at the New Haven Free Public Library, and welcome to Co-Create. We are here with Nadine Nelson, the creative in residence at the library, and today's special guest is Ifé Franklin. Would you two like to introduce yourselves?
Yes, I am Nadine Nelson, and I am also the chef, owner, and educator of Global Local Gourmet. I am happy to be here with Ifé, and happy to. I'm going to be doing something very boring today. I'm going to be doing my homework that Rose will be happy about. I'm going to be organizing and editing recipes on my phone. That's what I'm going to be doing. So be kind of boring. I might do some other things on my other phone, um, edit cards on the so all very administrative things, but that's part of the artist process, right, Ife? So sometimes you got to do administrative stuff, and so if I don't do it now, then I have to do it afterwards, and that's 2 hours later from now, and I go to sleep at 9 o'clock usually.
Yeah.
And Aoife and I usually talk to each other very early in the morning on Facebook Messenger, like do little messages. But I know Aoife from Boston, and I went to Tufts. And Aoife, you went to the museum
Oh, you froze.
school?
Yes. Yes. I graduated from School of Museum of Fine Arts.
Right. So Tufts has an affiliation, and so I did classes in my senior year, and I met Ife through a friend, either through Katro or through another friend of ours, Carlos, in the studios there, having to like make art. And so, and then also just being around Boston and the art scene in Boston, and me living there for 23 years, and Yvette can tell you how long she's been there for. So that's how we know each other, and I love her work. She's gonna be able to talk about her work, and we can see where that leads us in different directions.
Is that my cue? Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know if you were taking a beat, as they say in theater. I didn't know if you were taking a breath there.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know. Peace
Yeah.
and love.
Soleil said, I just want to say, Soleil said that she loves your nose ring. She's 12 and she wants to get her nose ring. So she's like saying
Soleil,
that she
thank you
loves
so
your nose
much.
ring. And then if you had your hair colored, if you had your hair colored, she'd be like, okay, see the nose ring and the hair color, because she wants her hair colored, the nose ring, tattoos, everything.
Maybe she should
Okay.
start dyeing her hair temporarily with like Kool-Aid, something that washes out.
Oh, we tried the temporary stuff. It doesn't really last. So
Well,
homage to your nose ring.
thank you. So how do you want me to kind of jump in here? Like we started talking about the nose ring, but we can start there.
No, you introduce yourself. The reason why I have people introduce themselves, so they can introduce themselves the way that they want to introduce
Okay.
them, you know?
My name is Ifé Franklin. I am originally from Washington D.C. I'm just a D.C. girl forever. Folks have said, "Oh, you've lived here for so long," and I'm like, "Nah, I'm not a Bostonian. I love living here in New England, but I'm a D.C. girl. I'm really a Southern girl, and a lot of
Am I frozen?
where I come from is all what my work is about and my ancestors and how I love them, etc. I can come back to that. I am a multidisciplinary artist. I, and that is pretty self-explanatory, but I incorporate all the things that I do into my work. That could be spoken word, written pieces, um, the book that I just wrote, The Slave Narrative of Willie Mae, is a part of my written work, poetry, movement, singing songs, creating ancestor slave cabins, life-size replicas of slave cabins to pay homage to the enslaved that lived and died to build this country. And I focus on the dwellings of the enslaved because the slave quarter was basically our first hood, right? The place where we could rest, a place where people were born, people died. It could be a place where that could be the last time you saw your mother, your daughter, your child. Like the slave quarter is sacred, hallowed ground, and with community work and support, we're able to make these cabins. And the last cabin we had was in Franklin Park on the hill. Um, it was in the Valley Gates parking lot. It was beautiful. The cabin actually became an altar. We did a ring shout there. If you don't know what a ring shout is, please Google that. The elevator pitch for the ring shout is the ring shout is a dance that was brought with Africans here to the United States. It's a dance, it's danced in a circle, it's danced counterclockwise, and it's a way to have reverence with God and the ancestors. So that's the elevator pitch for the ring shout, and it's still practiced by the Geechee Gullah people in South Carolina and the Georgia Sea Islands. The ring shout is alive and well. So we did a ring shout in Franklin Park along with the cabin, and actually Nadine volunteered and did the food for the day, and which people just loved every aspect of it. And the cabin became an altar. People bought flowers, people bought collard greens from their gardens. It was a total community event. So I do installation, sculpture. Right now, I'm working on the book that I wrote, The Slave Narrative of Willie Mae, has been funded by the New England Foundation for the Arts and the Boston Foundation, Live Arts Boston, to become an experimental performance piece, which is something that I've never done before. Then COVID hit. We had to pivot like everyone else. And now the experimental performance piece is going to be a 15-minute short film. And I'm extremely excited about this because the Royal House and Slave Quarters, if you don't know what that is, the Royal House and Slave Quarters is the only standing slave dwelling in New England is in Medford, Massachusetts. If you didn't know, Google them. They are going to let us shoot our movie on their grounds. So now, not only am I I'm an installation artist, I'm a fiber artist, I'm an indigo dyer. I won't say indigo dyer. I make a diade, which is the Nigerian word for fabric, and also a diade means indigo fabric. So I do a lot of things: sculpture, installations. I wrote a book. Now I'm going to make a film. So I'm very, very blessed to be gifted to do so many things. And I feel like it's my divine province to uphold Black folk in the most beautiful light that I can, in any art form that I can, to tell our stories, our narratives. We have to tell our stories. We have to be in control of our narratives. Because if we don't, it's misconstrued. And we all know that it has been. So it's now our time to do this with altar work. Okay, you're helping to educate people about this particular Orisha and other Orishas and ancestors. You're teaching people through your work, like I'm teaching people through my work. Conjure is not a scary thing. Conjure is where we come from. And don't get it twisted. People conjure in the Baptist church. People conjure in the Catholic church. What is all this, the frankincense and myrrh? Come on. Like, it's a different way to do it. It's a way Africans did it. And they have passed this down to us. The tidbits of this knowledge from the past that our ancestors have passed down to us now. This is what my work beholdens, okay? This is what my work is about. It's about us and the grandeur and depth of all that we are. That's what my work is, and that's how I work.
That's beautiful. Can you talk a little bit more about conjuring? Because, when you look at it up in the dictionary, it kind of has, I wouldn't say nefarious, but it's like, you know, the way that I look at it is, I was just listening to my friend. She's a conjurer and she calls herself Hoodoo Hussy, and she does burlesque, but she does, you know, she's a herbalist and does all that kind of stuff, you know, and it's interesting that you know, you talk about conjuring and make beautiful conjure bottles. And, but then the way that maybe people associate with the word is not in a positive way. So can you talk about like how it is a very positive a thing that, you know, I'm glad that my daughter, she does her, she talks about this stuff with me, but it's funny, like the younger generation, how, you know, myself, like being Jamaican, and my mom is very afraid of those things. And a lot of Black people are afraid of those things that are natural things or things that are, connect us with Africa. And I'm glad that I am not afraid. I'm glad that my daughter, you know, like she knows at 12 not to be afraid and to want to be connected to that. So can you talk about conjuring?
I can talk about what I know. I can talk about what I believe. I am not an initiate. I am not initiated in any traditional African religion. And actually, I'm working on something while we talk. You're going to be working on your phone. I'm working on this piece of, this is a part of a quilt that I'm working on. And okay, I'm not the best with this thing. Okay, so it's basically like applique. I'm sewing these pieces on, these Adire pieces. I'm applique on top of linen. This blue part is linen. Shoot, sorry. The blue is linen that was waxed. The Yoruba call it, the term for wax resist is eleko in the background. And then what I did was these pieces here, these dark indigo pieces, the round pieces, were deconstructed from a raincoat that someone got from Nigeria that they said they bought from Miss Nike's gallery. So this, you know, Miss Nike, that's a whole other story. Miss Nike is like the bomb, the Adire artist in Nigeria. So they said that's where this raincoat came from. I deconstructed it. And then there's this shield that's like a Zulu-like shield. So while we're talking, I'm going to be working on that.
Okay.
Okay, so
and then I'm just formatting. I'll just put a little plug if anyone's listening.
Sure.
That I'm formatting recipes for next week. I'll be teaching Monday through Friday, but also on Sunday. But Monday through Friday, I'll be doing a thing that we're calling Camp Public Kitchen, where from 5:30 to 7:30, we'll be teaching children and families how to cook around the clock. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, brunch, all of that from 5:30 to 7:30 each week. And so I'm formatting the recipe booklet, or I'm formatting the recipes that someone else is going to put in the graphic designed recipe booklet. So, Ifé.
You need to tell me what the segue is. Like, okay, is that my cue? So like you want me to just you wanted me to
Yeah,
like
just I mean, you can talk about the, you know, Adire. You know, you talked about the Gullah Geechee people, and you know they had indigo, and you know, like whatever you want.
Do you want to talk about conjuring? That's what I thought.
Yeah, let's start with that.
All right, so
yeah.
My thing is this: what I'm doing right now, I'm conjuring. What am I doing? I'm working. I'm sewing on this applique. I'm sewing on. Why am I conjuring? Because I know that what I'm working with is sacred. And what is sacred? What is sacred is whatever feels that way to you. I mean, and you know, I only work with good juju. Okay, so there's conjuring, juju, all this stuff, all of these words to me are interchangeable. We're talking about. And it's not just magic. We're talking about a religion. Okay, we're talking about Ifá. We're talking technologies. Okay, let me get really clear. We're talking technologies that people read as religions that Europeans did not understand, or They did my thing is, I think they did understand. They understood how powerful it was, how incredible it is. And that's why they had to get rid of it and wipe it out. Because this was the foundation for the people. This is what keep people strong, right? Your connection to the earth, your connection to the herbs, your connection. That's your cosmology, that's your technology, that you know everything. So they had to wipe out everything. So to me, to conjure is to live, to breathe, to be Black, and to not be afraid of your originality. Okay, to not be afraid of the technologies. Europeans taught us to let go, to hate, to despise, to be afraid of what is naturally ours. But then they want to turn around and say they invented this. It's like, because they want to control it, because they can see the power, the glory, the specter, right? The beauty. Okay, because for every ceremony, there's not just the fire and the herbs. There's costume, there's dance, there's food. Okay, Nadine. So what we did on that hill, that was conjuring. Oh, 100%. With the ring shout and all of that. And the element of food was there. And the element of community was there. And the element of drums was there. Communal. So, you break up the communal from the top down, the top being your cosmology, your technology, your religions, your how you live, and you break it all the way down, then you can subjugate. Okay? And people want to tell you you're not powerful. When you hear that little voice, we all hear this voice, doesn't matter what your ethnic background. When you hear that little voice, when you're going right and the little voice says, go left, and you go left, and it's the best decision you ever made, right? That's you listening to your ancestors. They're alive, they're well, they're present, they're working. They will work for you if you work for them. And when your belief is that strong, you can't enslave people. So, people had an agenda. They want you to be afraid of what's naturally yours. Okay, they want you to be afraid of your hair. They want you to be afraid of your skin. They want you to be afraid of being Black and whatever that means. And all of the things, all of the grandeur that means. So for me, conjure is not just what Hollywood says it is. It's not, and when you first started talking about it, you said the dictionary. I was like, you can't listen to that. Who wrote that?
No, but I'm saying that's what people, I'm not saying that for myself. I'm saying
I didn't mean that for yourself. I just meant like,
right.
And so my thing is to even
it's such a spiritual thing. And when I read that, I just thought that was really interesting, because it's such a
why go to a Webster's dictionary to ask a question about us?
No, I wasn't asking for myself. I wondered, like, because I'm going to be talking about it to people, and then just as an educator, it's like, that's the first thing that some people are going to go to. And so I thought that was very interesting, the very, Western notion of like what conjure means, which is like totally
I don't
not
think
what
it's
it means.
Interesting. I think it's racist.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to go there. It's not interesting to me. It's racist. So my thing is, I'm not going to that book to look up anything that's about me or about what's it going to say? It's going to say, oh, it's this, it's going to say what it's not. So you go to your heart to talk to people about conjure. You go look up Geechee Gullah folk and talk to them about conjure. And then you give that definition for conjure. Now with Webster don't know.
Oh, no, I didn't give, no, I want you to understand. I was wondering, like, when I'm going to bring up different ideas to people that don't understand them, I have to understand their point of view. And so I understand like what it means to me. But people, the first thing they're going to do for a lot of people is they're going to go to a dictionary. And so to understand like, oh my God, this is what it's out there about what that means. And I understand what you're saying also, but then how do I, like, of course I'm going to, bring my understanding, and my understanding comes from a historical and cultural and, beautiful kind of like connection, so that's what I'm going to speak to. But I also have to understand that a lot of people are going to have in their mind that kind of definition.
Sure, because they're colonized. Like, I don't have any mercy, Nadine. I hear what you're saying. And I hear how you're trying to, like, do these things. And I'm not taking no prisoners. It's like, it's what it is. And I'm not going to pretty it up. And I'm not going, I'm not, like, and I feel like, and I'm not, and it's not a judgment. Please forgive me. That's not where I'm going. I just don't have the bandwidth anymore to make things easy for people or comfortable for people. Like, I'm just like, that's done for me. And I will have workshops and I will talk to people and I'm cordial and all that, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. Straight, no chaser. Because the truth is, we're still being shot down in the street like dogs. The truth is, we're having kangaroo courts for cops, for the cop who killed George Floyd, when we all know how it's going to turn out. Now, if this man, I'm not watching TV, if this man goes to jail, if he goes to jail, first of all, I will be shocked. Who won't be shocked, okay? And if he goes to jail, he's going to get special treatment. Okay, he is. We all know how these things work. He's not going to be facing the same kind of prison situation as my nephew or somebody you may know. It's not going to be the same thing. Like, so I just want to be as real and live as possible. It's not my intention to hurt anyone. It's my intention with my project and with my work and with my breath is to heal people. You can heal people with the truth. The truth is hard. But the thing is, the truth about what's going on in the world and in this country forever is right there in front of us. It's not hidden. It's very blatant. These people arresting the legislature down in Georgia because she's knocking on the door. They're arresting her. What? They're changing the laws. They changed laws that says it's okay for you to run your car into people. This is the place where I pay taxes to live. This is the place. So I feel like it's right in front of people. So I'm not going to pretend. Okay, I'm just not. So, and I really feel like that's part of the conjuring, to go back to that. That's part, being honest, being real. You can't go from trauma to kumbaya without working it out. And I feel like we're at the stage where we're doing that. And I feel like a lot of artists are really helping to do that. We are really helping to bring people in, to show people that we are community, to show people how we have so much more in common than we don't. There is so much love in the world. You work with Oshun. That is the Oshun altar behind you. Okay? For folks who do not know, Oshun is the goddess. Elevator pitch. She's the goddess of love. She does so much more. So much more. She's the goddess of the river.
Yeah, the water, like her life.
She's
fertility.
She's
cooking, the kitchen.
She's wonderful. Okay, all about it. Like rivers of honey. We want the world to be sweet, but we also know there's work to do. So we're here to do that work. Lovingly sometimes, and sometimes I got to take a break. This is what I'm learning about the work, whether it's your artwork or I don't know how parents do it, because you don't get a break. You know, like I can take a break because I don't have kids.
I do though. You know, like I think that I do get a break because I live with my mom and I live around my family.
Ah,
I
oh,
came back to Connecticut to live with my family so I could have help with my daughter because, you know, being a single parent, that's I can't imagine. You know, my mom lived around my aunts. My aunts helped my mom, you know, like so, you know, like my cousins help and all of that. So I do get a break because I can leave her with my family, like, you know, so
I love that you. I love that you live communally. That's very you know, that's very us. That's
yeah.
very
Well, yeah. And then the thing is, like, people look at it as they're like, oh, like, you know, living with my mom. And I'm like, I came back to live with my mom so I can have a break. And that, you know, when I came back when Soleil was 2, and you know, like, you know, I love Boston, I love my peeps in Boston, but when your daughter's 2, you need to have someone who, you know, like my mom is good, that was her first grandchild, so you know,
Mhm.
Soleil is very spoiled and well taken well taken care of, you know, by her great
As
aunt.
you should be. I
Yeah,
mean,
no, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't have to ask my family to do anything. Like they love my daughter, like, you know, unequivocally. And that's really great. You know, like you don't want to feel bad when you're leaving your child with people. So
you know that song, that James Taylor song, shower the people you love
yeah.
with love. Show them the way that you feel. I love James Taylor.
Yeah.
Shower the people you love with love. Like I'm all about it. Back to the Oshun. Like, look at you living with your family. And you know what? Poo on the people who said, girl, you're moving back to your family. Don't be judging. This is my life.
Oh no,
Okay.
and I mean I don't, there's no apologies for it, but the thing is like
I
what you
heard
said,
that.
like that's how we lived.
That's
Like this
right.
is like a modern phenomenon. Like if you're not in a partnership, the only like man or woman, you know, like you didn't leave your family house, your family yard, you know, like there's like,
You
you
didn't
know,
leave
like
the
so
yard.
yeah, you lived in your, well, like we have a family house in Jamaica and it is 7 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms upstairs, and then we finished the downstairs, so it's even more space, you know, like so um unless you're married, you know, like you didn't leave the house, you just stayed. And so like this whole notion, like people, it's like a very Western idea of, I mean, I don't even know if it's Western because I think that it's a very American, because like even in Europe people live at home, you know, like and yeah,
Huh.
there's no shame at all. Like I mean, I was just I had to come up to Boston to do um meet with my accountant for a second, and so you know, like I could take a couple of days off before Easter and enjoy myself, and it's like I couldn't do that if I didn't have my family, and I can leave my daughter and be like, hey, bye, I'll see you on Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I
Yep.
love it.
Family is very
Yeah, like
important.
the whole notion of family, and you know, like community, like we're talking about like community care, and someone was talking about, oh, a teacher was talking about like here in New Haven about the schools, and you know, like expecting teachers to do everything, and teachers can't do everything because the like schools can't do everything because the things that need to be done are beyond the parameters of school, and school has tried to, you know, feed kids, provide, you know, social work, do all that kind of stuff, but um what's needed is a lot more stuff and a lot more money.
It's, I think I'm not a parent, but it seems to be like one of the hardest jobs ever. And it's never over. You know, your kids grow up and, just now I'm starting to, at this point in my life, at this age, I'm starting to really think about what I never thought about before. How much my mother must have worried about me in my 20s and 30s. Like when I'm bopping around, changing different colleges, going over here, living in this state, this now, living over here, like out there
Especially,
partying, being young. Da, da, da. I never thought my mother could be so worried because I was just out there, you know how it is. And I never thought about it. And I never thought about it because my mom still worries about me. I'm 61 years old this month. My mom still says things that not even alludes to. It makes me understand that she still worries. And I think, wow, not like bad, but she's your
yeah,
mom. And I'm just like, it never stops. This is the point I'm
yeah.
saying about like,
No, it doesn't. I mean, I think that especially if, I don't know what sign she is. Like my mom is a Virgo, so she's like constantly worrying. And my daughter's a Virgo too. So it's like two Virgos and a Libra, so I'm like, let go, let God, like, I worry, but what can I do? I can't, it's out of my control. So like all I can do is raise my daughter a certain way and hopefully she will, you know what she's doing.
she will
And
grow up to want a nose ring and blue hair.
well, I know, but the thing is, like, I'm wild too, but wild in a different way. I didn't
Well,
necessarily.
because I have a nose ring.
No, like but that's her exercising her wildness, and that's fine. Like I describe myself as wild, but I said to her, like, I'm more like undercover in the sense, but I mean, look, I have the fake dreads, but
Hair is hair.
I've always, had my hair natural before people had their hair natural, all that kind of stuff. But so far, but I've never been like a tattoo person or an outward person in the sense
Okay,
of,
I hear that.
um, I mean, I'm already out there as it is. I don't think I need any more.
Listen, it's all about what you're comfortable with. And the thing is, whatever you're comfortable with now, you're going to change. Okay. In 10 years, in 5 years, you're not going to be the same Nadine you are now. And
Oh
the only
yeah.
reason I know that is because what? How old am I going to be this month? Because that. And I think about it. I think about getting older. I think about, oh my God, the old, the things, the wrinkles, the hair that's showing up in places where you never thought it was capable for you to grow hair, and how quickly it grows back once you pluck it out. And not only that, it's white now or gray or whatever. Okay. Then you can start getting like the old lady neck. Okay. And you just are like, okay, and my lipstick is cute. Okay.
Mine is too.
I got my lipstick on, my glasses are cute, I'm still cute, and yes, I'm an older lady, and when you want to take me out on a date, like, come on.
But you know what? I've never, like, it's like as I get older, there's not a problem going out on the dates. It's like finding a person that you want to date. There's like
Well,
enough.
okay. What? Hello.
There's enough people to date. Like I think that it's like women, like we're like, oh, like there's like, oh yeah. It's like, no, there's enough people to date. There's enough suitors. It's like, do you want to date them? It's like,
No.
mm,
Nah.
I'm
No.
not.
Hashtag no. Hashtag nope. Hashtag I'm all right. I'm all right over here. I
I
am.
wish I
And
wish I
I'm
had
happy.
poker.
Like,
If I had poker face, I'd be able to try more. But I understand, like, like by the people's pictures. I always go like every like week, and you see like on Facebook singles, they say that they're single, but I don't think that they're single.
I was
And
on Tinder for like 3 hours. I swear to God, I made a profile. Okay, I worked with my coworker who was a millennial. She left, but anyway. So she was like, "Come on, you say you're a catch. Come on, And I was like, eh. So I did it, okay. And I'm like, what? No, you put in who you are. Okay, I'm queer. I put in who I am. I put in who I'm looking for. I put in who I'm interested in. And why am I getting all the people who are opposite of what I asked for? Bye. You're not even, goodbye. You're not even paying attention to who I am and what I asked for. You're sending me
Well, people
swingers.
don't really,
You're
I don't
sending
think
me
that
like
people really
swinger
read.
couples,
I don't think,
this,
huh?
that, and the third.
Yeah, I don't think that people really read. Like I think there's one called Hinge where
Well, then they
it's
need to
just
go
like,
to your library. This is coming out of the library, right? They need to go visit. Where's the plug for the library? Y'all need to
Visit
read.
the library.
That's right. That's right. Get in there. See, y'all need to go to the y'all need to read when you get up on Tinder. You need to read.
I don't think that
I was on there for 3
yeah.
hours, girl. I got off. I was like, I felt like you know what was so deep? It's like I felt like I was on display in a way that I couldn't control. Like when you go out and you get ready to go out, like you're kind of in control of your display, right? On there, you don't know who, it was just creepy to me. It was just kind of creepy.
Yeah, it
But
is.
people say, this is the way people are dating now, Ifé. Like if you want to date, this is how you have to do it. If you're waiting for the person to walk down the street and you feel this energy, it just doesn't happen like that anymore. I just don't believe that. I'm just old fashioned and I'm a romantic. I want to be in a place and to see somebody across the room. And it's like that Casablanca moment. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Right? Like I want romance. Okay. That's why what? Who's my mother? Oshun. I need, okay, everything keeps coming back to her. It keeps coming back to the honey. It keeps coming back. And I'm divorced. So is this TMI for this program? But I think
No, like we talk about all, like, because it's like,
I think it's
it's about
connected.
it's like the creative journey. And then, I mean, Oshun, especially like for the last like year and a half, 2 years, is like who I channel and who I'm all about. And so, like, I mean, I'm not going to work on the Oshun cards, but I've worked on Oshun cards during this program. And because I didn't publish them, and then I also, last week. I don't know. Can you see this, Ifé?
I'm like, where did you go?
Can you see this?
Yeah.
The mirror. So I finished this last week, but I've
Oh,
worked on this a couple of times.
okay. Beautiful.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I mean, yeah, because I mean my installation is never, I don't think it's gonna ever be done. It's gonna be one of those never ending golden tributes.
Oh, I love that sentence. The never
Oh,
end.
and then like here,
That
I don't know
sounds
if you can
like, is
see.
that the name of your exhibit? Oshun, the never ending golden tribute. Like, that's it, girl.
No, well, it can be the third iteration. Look, Ifé, this is my this is cyanotype. Can you see it?
Not really,
Last week,
because of the background is like, okay.
Yeah,
can you see it?
sometimes
So
it kind of fades into the background a bit.
yeah, so it's like blue and white. It's like we did cyanotype where we put this is like an ode to Yamaya, and so we did like seaweed and that kind of stuff. And it's a process that you do in the sun.
Yes,
So we put
yes,
nets. Yeah.
yes.
So yeah. So my friend and I, because I want to do an installation to Yamaya also.
Go for it. Like, do it. There are never enough.
But I feel like I'm so like every time I'm trying to do Yamaya, I get drawn back to the gold and the glitter of Oshun. But I feel like Yamaya would probably grounds me a little bit more. Oh, and then, you know what you were saying, like, oh, you're not trained in any religion. And I say that to people that
I
I'm
said I
not
wasn't initiated. I didn't say I was.
okay. Okay, all right, sorry.
Didn't say that.
Initiated. Well, I'm not trained or initiated in any
Mhm,
religion per se. I
mhm.
have been around
Yes,
and
yes,
I've supported other people, but
yes.
I myself have not, and I probably will not, because being a recovering 7-day Adventist, I don't know how I
Ah,
feel about.
Ashe,
Huh?
Ashe. I said Ashe. I mean, it's a big commitment.
Yeah.
It's a big commitment on a level. It's a big commitment to be initiated. Um, yeah, just like anything. Like when you give yourself to God, being initiated is that, and it's giving, you know, yourself over.
So what was in here? My daughter brought me down a smoothie that she made, so I
Mm-hmm.
finished that.
What was it? What are the ingredients?
I think she had star fruit in there, mango, strawberry, and blueberries, and I think a little bit of banana.
Ah, so you can see my light source is like not that great. I'm trying to maybe if I oh there you go. There's better. Ah, it's different, but it's better than it was. Um, so I see your daughter is walking in your footsteps around the culinary arts.
Yeah. Mark was good at cooking too. Ife knows my daughter's father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's good. He was a good cook, chef
Oh, okay.
also.
Light source is being wonky. I'm doing my best,
Yeah.
y'all. I'm
We need to get
sorry.
you a little, we need to get you a little ring light, but it's all right. We can see,
I
I can
have
see
a
you.
ring light. Actually, I have one. Can we be on pause? And then I was thinking, we're 2 hours. Can I have a bathroom break? Like if I have to go to the
Sure.
bathroom? Okay. Well, I would, is it okay if I, like, how do we do this? Do I just get up and
So
go? Do I
you
close
get
my
up and go, and then I will meander and talk about something.
Okay,
I'll
I'll close
talk
my
about,
camera.
I'll
I'll
talk
put up
about,
the ring
I'll
light.
talk about my program on Saturday.
Okay, cool. I'll
No,
be
on Sunday, my Sunday program.
okay. I'll be right.
All right, no problem. Just go and come back. Um, Rose, what time is the program on Sunday?
Let me double check that one sec.
And it's how to eat on $4 a day, which is the EBT budget. And so you don't have to be on EBT to watch it. It's like a class that I developed because there is a book called Good, Cheap, and Healthy, and it's a downloadable book. And it's a wonderful resource on how to be able to eat healthy, because people always talk about how to eat healthy on, a little bit of money. And so this book shows you. We'll probably show some clips, or you'll be able to see some clips from a documentary called Food Stamps, and then I'll show people how to be able to menu plan. And even the most spontaneous of us, which I am very spontaneous, if you menu plan, and then you also stock your pantry from one week to the next with wholesale or bulk items, then eating healthy can be quite easy and inexpensive. So we'll be doing that on Sunday. And then to prepare for Camp Public Kitchen, which will be next week from Monday through Friday from 5:30 to 7:30. And it is called Cooking Around the Clock. And so we're going to start on Monday with breakfast, we'll move to brunch, then lunch, then dinner, and then snacks and tea items. And the whole idea is to have kids and their families learn how to cook some basic items, and be able to be self-sufficient. We'll also be doing some home exercises and some STEAM activities. So it's going to be really fun. So come and join us.
And the program on Sunday, the Good, Cheap, and Healthy, is from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m.
So is it says Eve's, but is that Rose?
Yes, that's
Oh,
Rose.
yes, I've squared. That's just the department I'm working in. I usually remember to change it to my name.
I love how you just pop in there, Rose, and just be like, yeah, let me tell you. Let me tell you what else. And don't forget this, Nadine. Okay. Rose.
Oh,
Well,
she had asked me
yeah,
what time it was.
I
yeah.
think it's fantastic. Everybody, oh, there you go. Rose, I see you.
Yep.
I see your name. Everybody needs a Rose in their life. Okay.
Well,
Like
I call Rose my handler, because it's like
listen, Julie Ryu is my handler. Julie Ryu is the admin person. Julie Ryu does the things that I can't do very well, that are administrative, that are with the computer. She will throw us. You say, well, I'm thinking about this, and this. She'll send you a spreadsheet like that. Okay, she will. And now I'm not afraid to look at spreadsheets. I'm like, we all need a Rose in our life. Okay.
exactly.
Rose, have you ever heard of this group, the Cornelius Brothers and Sister Rose?
I don't think I have.
What? You don't know that song, Treat Her Like a Lady? And what's that other song?
Well,
Come
I
on.
didn't know
Lacey, do you
the
know
name of the
them?
group, but I know the song that you're talking about.
Treat Her Like a Lady?
Mm-hmm.
Or that other one, um, it's too late to turn back now. I believe, I believe, I believe I'm falling in love. That's the Cornelius Brothers and Sisters. Rose, check
Oh,
it out. Yeah.
so since you're going down memory lane,
Let's
why
go
don't you
back
talk?
down memory lane.
Huh?
No, don't bring up no embarrassing stuff. Okay.
Oh,
You want
no,
to
no, no, I'm not
go
gonna
back
do that.
to,
No, 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 I
but
don't
you
do
know how
that.
your friends are,
I
they be like, and you remember that time? Remember
no,
that
no,
time?
no, because I don't want like anyone to do that to me.
Okay,
And
hello. But some
it's
people just
enough that
don't.
Rose gets to meet all different types of people from all aspects of my life. She's like, this girl's a little off, um, but why don't you talk about whatever aspect that you want about growing up in DC and like your art journey,
Oh,
like, you
wow.
know, like I always
Okay.
ask people about their art journey and then how they can talk about it, because I think that, different, people have had so many, different types of journeys and come to art in various ways. And so people come in and listen to this in different ways. So some people are on Facebook and a lot of people listen and they don't participate. And they're like, yeah. And they'll tell me afterwards, like, yeah, that show with Ifé was really good. And like, I really loved what she had to say about conjuring. So
I hope
talk
they
about your, huh?
nothing. I was like, I hope they say nothing. Anyhow, you wanted me to talk about growing up in DC and my art
Yeah, like, or
journey.
whatever, like what's your art journey? And I mean, I know you're from Boston, like I don't,
I am
like I
not from Boston. Oh, you
no,
know
no,
me
no, no.
from Boston. Yes,
I've always known that you're from DC,
yes.
but I'm saying that I know you from Boston. I know,
Okay.
like, and I know, and you share, and maybe you want to talk about, because I thought this is kind of important in regard to the work that you do about preservation of history and what you're talking about. Like it's important to preserve our legacy and our history. And like, how did you come to that? And
Okay.
so that was one thing that I want to, talk about, because I think that in your artwork, that's like what I associate part of your artwork with. And I think that that's important as an artist and as a Black person. Um, so yeah. So your legacy, and then you can go to the other stuff, your art legacy or your art
So
journey.
I think everything that you're saying touches on me being from DC. That's where my art journey started. My art journey started in high school. Well, actually, that's not true. My art journey started because my grandmother is the first artist that I've ever met. My grandmother was a quilt maker. And when I'm, my connection to that, to quilts and Ifa, it's like the quilts are like a direct connection to the Egun costume. If you look at the Egun costume, it looks like patchwork, beautiful, beautiful. And I wouldn't even call it patch. Okay. And the Egun costume is for the ancestors. So you see the thread for me here, the quilt, the Egun costume, the ancestors. And that's what I work with in my work. That's not how I started with my work. I started as a photographer. In high school, I took a photography class in a place called the Lemuel Penn Center. I went to McKinley Tech High School in Washington, D.C. That's still functioning, that I hear. Um, and there was like maybe, a couple of blocks down the road, this a literary arts program called the Lemuel Penn Center. They came to our school, they gave a presentation, um, and I was very drawn to it because I had been like the family photographer with the Polaroid, and I had really good. I could, center things really well in the viewfinder, etc. And I actually was drawn to that class because my brother had passed away earlier, like in the spring, and this was in September. And so this art class actually helped me to heal. So I stayed there for like 2 semesters. I got really good at what I was doing, decided that I wanted to be a photojournalist, and then was encouraged to create a portfolio. as a teenager and submitted to art schools. I submitted it to 3 different art colleges and I was accepted to each one of them. I decided on Minneapolis College of Art and Design first. I was there. And then I transferred to California College of Arts and Crafts, which is now the California College of Arts. I dropped out for like a year and a half of college. Wandered around, etc. Still being the photographer and studying photography and making really great work and being exposed to all kinds of things in art college. Of course you would be, because you're in this environment that is all about art 24/7. That's 24/7. It's an amazing experience. So, floundered around for a while, fell in love, in a relationship, blah, 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 in New York in the 80s, being enriched by different things that I had never experienced. Like at the time I was dating a spoken word artist. So I was around writers all the time. And then the writers would have salons. I had never been to anything like that. And then I'm in Brooklyn in the 80s. Okay. It was fierce. Okay. The Brooklyn when I go back to the places where I used to live, of course it doesn't look like that now. But I'm going to tell you how much richness was there, how much soul was there, how much. Okay, I would do things like go see when urban bush women first started out, when they had lofts, when they would have these like staged readings. I saw the teaser for Daughters of the Dust in a loft on a sheet when Julie Dash was still trying to get the money to make it. Okay, so I was on the precipice, like sitting at the feet of people like Alexis DeVoe, Hattie Gossett, and Weena Lee Tyler in The Piece of the World. Like I was watching Black women do things, make art in ways that still influence me now. I wrote my book because I've been around other women who've published books, who published chat books, hardcover books, so my art journey took me there. And then I came from Brooklyn to Boston. Big culture shock. I am from DC, lived in Minneapolis, which was really, it was a whole other experience for me, beautiful in a whole other way. And then moving to Oakland, okay, and then moving back to DC, back to Brooklyn, and then ended up in Boston. I was like, it was really a shock. The weather, the people, like everything is different. And one of the things that was really great about being in Boston is that the mass art is in the consortium of colleges that I was already in. So if I had applied to mass art, I could have kept my credits and la, la, la. But people were saying to me, no, you need to be at School Museum of Fine Arts. At the time, well, I went back to school, it was like 1987, 1986. Like what mass art is now, mass art was not that.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Innovation that mass art is now was not that. So people were saying, no, you don't need that. You need to go over here. And it was really the best thing. It was really the best thing for me to go to School and Museum of Fine Arts. I lost credits and stuff because they're not a part of that. But what was great about it, and I was like, oh my God, I've already done 3 years. I got to do 3. It was great because I met my mentor, Stanley Pinkney. I was exposed to all these different things. And being at School Museum of Fine Arts Boston really changed my life. I was already enhanced and had a lot under my wing from high school to the 2 different colleges that I went to. So by the time I landed at 27 years old, I was like an older person at School Museum of Fine Arts. Everyone was like 18, 70. Like I was at like an elder to them. And
because I graduated in 1988, so that's when we met.
That was wild, yes, because I went and I did 5th year for the traveling scholarship. I didn't win. That was 1990, and that's when I left school. So after I left school, I've been on my art making journey that has led me to Ifé Franklin's Indigo Project with all these different, like there's a river of work, and then there's all these tributaries, right? The cabin work, the installations, the book, the film, the Adiade work, the quilts. Like my grandmother's a quilt maker. She's always wanted us to make quilts. I never wanted to make quilts. It was old fashioned. It was country. I didn't want to do that. And now what am I doing since my grandmother passed? I'm like working on quilts. So it's the power of the ancestors. And I just feel like my art making journey and my spiritual beliefs are one. They fuel each other. They balance each other with everything, with color, with form, with texture, with music. I want to use all of my senses in my work. I just feel like that's how my work stays true, is that I use everything that I've got, everything. And what I don't know, and I'm learning how to collaborate. Oh, that's a new one. Okay. The journey has led me to collaboration, this film, like to trust. Oh my goodness. I'm used to being the voice, the commander in chief, the CEO. I still am. And I'm listening to other people because these people come on the journey to help me elevate the work. So, I mean, and check it. Part of my journey is being like, I'm calling my friend, the musical director, like I'm doing like this, the messages that we leave each other. I'm like, girl, I'm messed up. I'm messed up. My ego is out of control. They're talking about it's our piece, our piece. And I'm like, it's mine, girl, it's mine. And she's like, and she just validated my feelings. Like, first of all, she didn't judge me. And she said, you are right where you're supposed to be. Of course you feel that way. Of course it's your piece. It's your baby. And these people, your friends, these people that you gathered, these wonderful, talented people are here to help to elevate it to where you want it to go. Isn't that why you asked them? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm struggling. Like, am I a bad person? Okay. I'm struggling with my ego here. And she was like, no. And I know myself, if I don't talk about it, then I'll act out. I don't want to act out. I don't
Well,
want
yeah,
I
that's
don't want to
where
be mean to somebody or cut somebody off when they're speaking or just be a jerk. Like, I don't want to do that.
well
I've
that's
done it.
where that's where I
I don't
am,
want
like
to do it no
making
more.
the transition between, like, it's hard, like when you're used to doing things for yourself, and then like the hyper vigilance and the hyper independence is a trauma response, like talking
Yes,
about
it
myself.
is. Like, you can't do it. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
going to do it.
yeah, and I don't want to take the time that it takes to like talk it out. you know like,
What does Amanda Seales say? I ain't got the time. I'm on my trampoline. Okay. Like, I don't have the time. It's true. Like,
so then you're like, okay, you're like, okay, and then you're like, when you don't
like, do that
meditate, when
again.
I
Okay. Okay.
no, I do like the hand, I do all types of hand yoga, I do like the breathing, I'm like, like, because with my daughter, it's like I'm going through perimenopause, and then she's going through, her tween hormones. So I'm like,
That's
you
an
know what?
interesting mix.
Oh yeah, it's not interesting at all. But you're like, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take, when I have like the aware of mind, I'm like, I'm just gonna take a adult timeout. Like, I'm just
I can add out time out. As can I do a plug before because it's almost like 8 o'clock. My film, The Slave Narrative of Willie Mae, is going to premiere Juneteenth weekend. Um, Black Market Nubian Square is my community partner, so the film will premiere there, where we will have miniature slave cabin building workshops, and we will have some way to write messages to the ancestors, and it's a free event. If y'all are not doing anything Juneteenth, and depending on what the CDC guidelines are, etc., I'm not sure how many people can gather. I don't know, but we will put the word out, and it would be wonderful if people could come. But we're also going to do things like stream it. Okay, I'm talking big time, like I know what it is, but I
Mhm.
really don't. The filmmaker is going to do the links, the streaming, and all of that. Even though I'm learning these things, but yeah,
Do you
I
have
would
a
love
website
to.
where people can
Rose,
find out about that?
Rose, Rose, I want you to come. I want you to come, Rose.
Do you have a website where people can find more information about that or see the stream whenever it's up?
Well, we haven't filmed it yet, so
Mhm.
we're still okay. Great question, Rose. We're still in rehearsals. We start filming May 7th. We will film on May 7th, 8th, and 9th. We are filming 3 scenes from my book. You people can go to my website to get basic information about what's happening and what I'm doing. That is www.ifearts.com. And when people, I advise people to keep checking. There are some updates there that you can see. And
And ifearts.com is on the library's website and on their
oh,
Facebook
cool.
page, like all the for the co-create kind of marketing. Um, her website is right there. The link is right there. You can just go press it um, and go right to it.
Mhm.
Yay! Thank you.
Mhm.
So
You're welcome.
I just wanted to do that before I forgot because I could, we get into conversation and then it's like over and I'm like,
Oh
girl,
no, like I mean, you have to share, like the whole idea is like for people to understand like what people are doing, and then, if you have work to share that, for people to support you because creative and artists need support and
well, I will share this.
patience.
I need a stage manager because the stage manager can't do it anymore. But actually, it's like a assistant director, but it's the stage. I need a person to do that, and I have to replace one of the actors because of SAG, Screen Actors Guild restrictions.
Oh, why?
Um, because the budget is too high for her to be in it right now because of COVID. Like there's all these different rules because of COVID and SAG and how people can work and what they're working on. Like, and there would be restrictions how I could use the film because she's in it because she's SAG, and I'm like I can't be
Okay.
restricted on how I
Oh,
want to
because she's
use it.
union. She's the
Mm-hmm.
only one that's union.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So if people don't understand, so when you are a working actor, um, you can do a certain amount of roles. I don't know, like I'm not because I'm
If you
not an actor.
register with the Screen Actors Guild,
Actors
you
Guild,
have to
and then
go
you
by
become part of
their
a union. And then
union.
when you're part of the Screen Actors Guild, then any project that you work on, you have to, there's a certain, it doesn't matter like how many hours, you have to get paid a certain amount. That's not determined by the movies, it's that the other is determined by your union. So there's a certain rate. And like, so for me, like when I do events, and I love unions. However, when I do events at a hotel where there's a union, it might cost $70 to turn on some lights because a person coming down to turn the lights, if they're part of the union, it's going to be $70. So it can make certain projects, especially when they're independent or a startup, it can be cost prohibitive. Um, and then Ife saying that not only that, if they work on the film, then that prohibits how she can then distribute the film, which I didn't even know about either, Ife, which is interesting. And that's the thing, like when people come up with ideas, I'm about to do cooking cabaret, and then we're gonna have music, and then we're gonna probably like I'm just really afraid of like how much like the release of music is going to be. um
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. It's like, uh, when we were thinking about when this was going to be a live piece, I was thinking about I wanted to use the music of this one particular artist, and I was thinking, why can't just create the music? If you're going to spend the money to, whatever. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. So I hear you. Yeah, royalties. which need to be paid. I mean, artists
Yeah.
need to be
Mhm.
paid for their work. And, I'm all about like, what can we create? Mhm. What, yeah, what can, what can happen?
I myself haven't done very much work right now, and I don't know how much, because it's like it's really hard for me to do two things. When I'm collaging, that's one thing, but I have to be reading and editing. I'm like, I don't know why.
You have to be what?
I have to be reading and editing right now. So it's like I
Oh.
don't know why I thought I could do that and talk to you at the same time, because I'm one of those people I can't do two things at the same time. I can collage because that's different than like I have to read a recipe and then edit it down and make sure
Sure,
all the
yeah.
steps are in there. So I really can't I really can't do that. But
It would really hinder the flow
our
of the
conversation, because
convo.
I'm not I can't concentrate. My younger brothers, they're hilarious, because I'm 50 and then they're like 35 and 37, I think.
Hmm.
And they're like, you can't do two things at the same time. And their generation thinks that they can, and they can't either, but they just do two things badly at the same time. You know? So
Yeah,
so
but
what made you
you tell them
stay
that.
up in so what made you stay up in Boston? Because Boston is so different than DC. And I love DC. DC is a chocolate city. I think it's still a chocolate city.
No, it's not. It's Vanilla Swirl, but okay. No, that's what they're calling it. I'm quoting the people who lived there. Um, why did I stay here? Because I finished school here and I had opportunities here. And um, I don't dis I don't dislike Boston. Boston is it's a city. Okay, the thing that's interesting about Boston, because I've been here since like the late, like 86, 87. Like Boston now looks physically different
Yeah,
in so many ways. I mean, than the Boston that I moved here. But even the Boston that I moved here had a different vibe from I moved here from Brooklyn in the 80s. Cracked out, da da
yeah,
da, boo 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 boo. And I'm from DC, which is when I grew up. I was born in 1960. So, the 70s, I grew up in DC, which was all black power, beautiful, da 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 da. Like I love being from DC. I love this. And it's just, I mean, it's a quiet, Boston is kind of quiet. It's quiet, okay? Even in the places that can feel hard, it's not as hard as some of the places that I've lived. And I haven't lived in the hardest places in Boston either. Okay, let me be real about
but
that.
it's not even like that's what I mean. I think
It's a
that
quiet, nice place to be. Like all my friends are like, "How can you stay in Boston? It's so racist. How can you stay in Boston? It's like the most racist place in the world." And I said, "Show me a place on the planet that's not racist, and I'll move there." Like,
yeah,
did I not have racist situations in Brooklyn? Yes, I did. Anywhere in DC, anywhere. Well, very little in DC. I will say that when I was growing up, because it was 90% black. It was like
yeah,
99.9% black. So when I go home now and my mother is the only black person on the
on her
block,
block.
do you hear me? Like black people in DC at this point, my mom told me, she said that certain in the summer when it's warm, black people come out of the house around 5 or 6, and just sit on the porch. It's like it's an act of defiance. Like we're still here. Like people will just come and sit on their porches. Not like just like yeah. And what's deep is like I was on the porch the last time I was home with my mom, and folks that walk by, they don't even say hello. They don't
Yeah,
acknowledge you. Nothing.
yeah.
Nothing. And realtors are sending my mom Godiva chocolates and all kind of incentives to sell her house. And she said, "I'm not selling." She said, "I sit down, I put my feet up, I eat my Godiva chocolates, and I'm keeping my house." So um, I love Boston because some parts of Boston remind me of home. if that even makes any sense. I can't even believe I'm saying it, but there's something about it. There's like, it's lush, it's green. DC is very, like people talk about the energy of DC, but I really love the flora and the fauna of DC. Like it's lush.
Well, like
DC,
Frederick Law Olmsted, it's like he did a lot of those parks down in DC too.
well, the thing too is also the design, but also the landscape. DC's in a swamp. Like it's hot, it's humid, you can grow all kinds of tropical things. Yes. And okay, I'm old enough to remember this. Like, okay, Lady Bird Johnson, Lyndon Johnson's wife. I remember that she did a big beautification of DC with flowers everywhere. Like she loved flowers. And I
Didn't she
remember,
like wildflowers?
no, like, really manicured, like, how you see on, the big pots of flowers on those strips of
The
cement.
medians?
Yes, on the medians. Like she started those types of things in DC. And I think she started it like in the nation because she just loved it, the beautification. And I loved it as a person, I guess as an artist, like the colors, the different types, like everywhere you go, you see it. And yes, Rock Creek Park, was it designed by Olmsted? Because Rock Creek Park is the jam. It is everything.
I think so. Yeah. I think because like most of the like in New Haven where I am now, like
I'm gonna look that up.
He did a bunch of parks that are here. Like there's like people from New Haven, if you're watching, Edgerton Park, Edgewood Park. He in Brooklyn, he did Fort Greene Park, I believe, Brooklyn Botanical Park, all that there. But definitely Fort Greene Park. He did Grand Central Park. I don't know if he did like Mount Tyrant and those, but a lot of most of the major parks in America, like Humboldt Park in Chicago, him or someone from his landscape architecture firm did it. So I would say like a lot of the major parks, he had like some kind of influence on in some way. And I think your favorite Frederick Law Olmsted Park is Franklin Park. Is that correct?
I love Franklin Park. I've fallen in love with it. I mean, I've lived in this area forever, and I would always go to the pond. I would, even when I didn't have a car, I would walk to the pond. It was walk to the pond, walk around the pond. And I had a friend who grew up here. He said, "Why don't you just go to Franklin Park? It's right up the street." And when COVID hit, where did I go? Up the street. And I have fallen in love. I have that place is magical. Franklin Park.
I love it.
And I'm like, Franklin, are you my ancestor? Reparations. Okay. Franklin Park. Who is Franklin? Are you related to me, Franklin? Franklin Park. So I'm just claiming.
I never thought about that either. I never thought about that. Like, who the hell is Franklin? Like, yeah.
I don't know, but maybe Benjamin Franklin. I don't know, but Franklin Park. I've fallen in love with it. Just so many things, so many like crevices. I've taken so many pictures in a year, and depending
it's so
on
private,
season,
right?
All the pictures are different. They're just different.
And isn't it so like so we're talking about Franklin Park in Boston, which is part of Roxbury, Dorchester, Jamaica Plain, which are all different neighborhoods in Boston. And it's part of the Emerald Necklace. And so around Boston are all these green spaces that flank it that look like if you're looking from the air, it looks like an emerald necklace. And so the majority of those green spaces were designed by Frederick Law Olmsted, who was a landscape architect and lived in Brookline, Massachusetts, and influenced many of the parks in America. But his whole notion about parks was that at that time, which is like kind of, I guess, probably like Victorian times, like the turn of the 19th, 20th century, was that in Europe, you going to a park was very it was an aristocratic thing. It's a
Yeah, it
hierarchical
was like an
thing.
elitist thing to do.
Yeah.
You got dressed
So
up, you got your parasol, you went out.
the average person could not go to the park. So Frederick Law Olmsted, the 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 father of American landscape, and one of the people that I love in regard to their work, because I think a landscape architect, when they're designing something that they're not going to see. And then they're designing something to have that kind of vision, that you're planting all these different, like the arboretum that Harvard manages, like, there's a whole pine forest, and there's all these different types of landscape. And so when you design this, it takes a lot, a long time for all these things to come to fruition, 20, 30 years, and you're no longer living. So I just think that it's kind of an amazing person that can have that kind of foresight. And so Frederick Law
But I feel like
Olmsted,
that about any artist.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
your work
yeah.
is your legacy. Your work is going to live when you're not.
Yeah.
So, I'm at that, I'm at a place where I'm thinking about my legacy. Like, what do I want it to be? Who do I want to leave work to? Like those thoughts are kind of daunting. They're very daunting. And I don't feel like I need to do, I feel a cross between like, like how much time do you have left? Like that's real. And how much work, like what are all these other spells, conjures here and here that need to come out, that need to speak, that are tapping me on the shoulder, saying, okay, I want you to make this now. I want you to create this altar. I want you to create this piece. I want you to try to dig deep, to take a risk.
So how do you feel like, it's just in recent years that I feel like about, so Rose, my handler. So I talked to LMR Gallery. So there's a gallery in New Haven. It's like this really big gallery. And so I haven't, like my work is like food art, but then it's interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and like it's about being in person. And so I haven't, through this whole residency, I haven't been able to do anything in person. So like it's really important to me, like, to try and have like at least like an ending where I can make some food and feed people and have people come see like my different things, all the different things that I've made, and see them in person and stuff like that. And so I talked to LMR Gallery, and he's into it. And so he's like, okay, let's get our emails together. And so it's like this space that he has a beautiful gallery, huge. So it can be like COVID safe, but then what he really does is like he sells, he loves art. So he made this gallery, but he sells beautiful stone for people who have kitchens. And so like different designers come. So he made this beautiful kitchen, and he sells like pizza ovens. So it's like a show kitchen. And then he has like pizza trucks. So he's like, we can get tent, and we can get pizza, we can have the pizza ovens outside, and we can do all these different things. And then I'm like thinking about like the gallery. And then I'm like, okay, well, I kind of want to have other people, but I'm kind of like, you know what? I just want to fill this space with my art, And then I'm like, that's kind of scary because that's 2 months away. I don't know if I have that much art to fit in there. So I might be like making art like at 3:00 in the morning, like I've done for other shows. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this for this show, but you know what? I might try.
That's right.
Don't forget to sleep sometime. You're no good if you burn yourself out before you get there.
That's why Rose, that's why you're here, Rose, the handler. The handler.
Yes.
You gotta
Rose,
know when to hold them. Know when
from
to fold
Thursday to Monday, I didn't do anything this weekend. That was very hard for me, but it wasn't that hard because I was in the middle of having a good time. But it's like, you know what? I'm not going to hold myself to work. We all have to rest. So I'm getting a little bit better at that, Rose. And yes, when we
Good.
onboard the interns and the other people to do the administrative stuff, that's what, like when we get the administrative people together, that's when I can fly.
You need a team. You need somebody you need people who believe in you. And that's the thing, even if it's one person, because you believe. When you get people with you who believe, that's it. You can fly because you can rest and that you can trust somebody that you can do your work. This is going to get done so I can do this. Now, I would like to segue back into rest. And because it is 8 o'clock, and I would know, I'm just like, I really need to wrap up if that's okay and rest. And I'm really good with boundaries. Like that's just really important to me. And
We've
yeah.
had other people who had to leave early too because I have a friend.
Is it early? I thought we
No,
were
here
here.
8:30. No, ends at 8:30.
Oh, 8:30? Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I thought it was just until 8. That's why I was like, okay, it's time to go. Okay, listen to Rose. I hear Rose laughing too.
You need to go. It's all good.
If you're feeling a type of way, like my friend Catalina, she's a
I'm
baker.
just okay. Honestly, since we're here and we're being all real, I'm hungry. Like I'm just hungry, and I'd like to have a snack, but I don't want to eat on here and ruin my lips.
Well, I mean, have I eaten on camera, Rose? I've eaten. I don't know if I've done it.
I'm not
camera.
eating. Okay.
Possibly during your cooking programs.
Yeah.
But this is not a cooking program. That's not. We're cooking, but not with that. Okay. We are stirring the pot here.
Yeah. I make sure that I try and eat beforehand because I'd be kind of hangry. I couldn't focus.
Well,
at that point,
I might have to pause it and go get a chip or something. Like I might have to do that since this. I do love the fact that this is kind of formal but informal. I do love that.
Could also grab a drink. I didn't mean it in an alcoholic way, but yeah, that's valid too.
Rose.
I mean, I've got some iced tea with me right now.
I love you, Rose. Rose is like, I'm caffeinated. Okay, I'm the handler. I love it. I love it all. So, I'm just like, okay, so where are we going to go with this here?
Well, I think that I was asking you, what did I ask you about? Like your legacy, like what do you want to share? What do you want to share with people as a creative and as an artist? You shared a lot, but like what are some other things?
I have some work in a group show in South Carolina right now. There's an incredible textiles artist named Arian King Comer. If people don't know who she is, she lives in South Carolina. She is she uses traditional indigo and she uses a DNA technique. She actually studied with Madame Nike. That's spelled like Nike, but it's not Nike like the shoe. It's Nike.
Nike, like the Greek goddess of victory. I think she's.
You better work, Rose. Rose, you better watch out, Nadine. Because look, I'm vibing on Rose. Okay. I am vibing on Rose. So I just want to know, are you a yellow rose, a red rose? Like what? Come on, Rose.
I like the color red best.
Okay, there you go. She is a red rose. I know what to bring you if we ever meet. I will bring you a red rose.
She's
All roses
also
are good.
She's also a Libra.
Okay.
Yes, she's I'm the wild Libra. I think she's a tame Libra, but maybe.
Well, listen, if Rose
is wild, and I don't know.
I would say, if Rose is hanging out with, how with the choir ones, if they're hanging out with you, they're very much like you. And if you're hanging out with them,
I think they probably
they
knew that I needed someone that was a little very like handler, like, and very to the point, which is great. I like people like that. I need someone who is very different than me, you know?
Oh, I'm a librarian. I organize information. It's what I do.
Okay.
So yeah,
And
so
let me tell you,
I always like a
people like
person who,
myself love people like yourself.
that's why I say, like, you need someone to help organize. I'm
That's
not,
right.
there's no shame in
Listen,
that.
that's why you go to my website. The reason my website looks the way it does is because of Julie. Okay, I am not gonna lie. I did get it started, and it was good for someone at my level. It was damn good, but now it's spectacular because I have help. Yeah.
So how did you get to that point? Because I think that some people look at asking for help as a bad thing. And, I've never looked at it like that. I don't think that I've looked at, but I think that at certain times, like being able to trust people can be very hard.
Oh
So
my gosh, I still
what,
struggle with that one. Are you kidding?
yeah.
Um, I mean, I've had different people to work with me. The very first people who worked with me were, some really good friends of mine. I don't know if I should mention their names. Some really good friends of mine, some women of color. Because I'll drop names and people be like, "Why'd you say my name?" So I'm just like, "Oh God." Okay, so some and they our lives are different. Okay, so the way we use our time, the way they didn't have the time to help me anymore, right? So then there was someone else who helped me for a while, and then it didn't really work out. And then I worked by myself, and I was really kind of jacked up about I'm going to have to just do this by myself, and I don't know how. And things were slow and unorganized because of the fact that I'm not up on all this technology. Like I didn't grow up with the computer. Like it's I got to call Apple every other day to figure stuff out. And then I had a show. I had a miniature ancestor slave cabin workshop, the very first one that I had at the Garden Museum. I had 3 of them there. Um, Julie was there. She approached me. She came to me and said, and look, let's just be real. Like at first I was like, what? She's totally different than me. She's black, she's white, I'm black, she's white, and I'm kind of like, wait, and I've had bad experiences with people trying to help me on this project who happen to not be black. So, I had some walls up. But her vibe was so different, right? It was different, it was unassuming, it was real and different, right? And she made her cabin, and I was taking pictures, individual pictures of people who wanted me to take that. And she was one of the people. So I have a picture of her. And then she said to me, if you need help with stuff, just let me know. And I don't know. I don't know how I took the risk. I don't remember. And you know what's really lovely? I'm glad I don't remember, because I just feel like we have just fallen into this rhythm, fallen into this. And it's not like we haven't had to, work things out, because we had to learn each other, right? And I know for a fact that if I didn't have Julie, who is like your Rose, Julie helps me. Like she wrote grants for Harvard. Okay, so she knows how to do that. So this is how I know I've received these grants, because I've written these grants on my own and haven't been awarded. So, and even when we're working on it, like her eye is so good that she could say, this section shouldn't go here, it should go here. Like, I don't know that. Or it sounds like we answered that question. I said, didn't we answer that? We already answered that question. She said, no, we didn't. We need to elongate. So I know this is, you need this help. You need it. You need it. And how did I take the risk? I don't know. God helped me make the risk. The Orisha's ancestors helped me to move out of my own way, because I got trauma and trust issues like a mofo. And then I got trauma and trust issues with white folks. Let me just be real. I got trauma like that with folk, but then you add the element of race and all the different asterisks that goes with that. So I'm going to tell you, I don't know what it was. I'm just grateful that I could move out of my own way and that I could open my heart, Nadine. Okay, open my heart and be healed. The relationship that I have with Julie is healing me. It's healing me. It's healing her. Um, it is. I know this for a fact. We talk about it. And it's really important because I don't want to be locked into my pain. I'm actually looking at how, trauma on some level has fueled my work. Of course, you put yourself into your work, but I'm not just trying to stay in the pain body with my work, with my life, my thought process, with my heart, because our ancestors didn't do that. They didn't stay locked into the pain body because if they did, we wouldn't be here. They could not take away our hearts. They could not take away their hearts. Okay. Like when you read narratives that tell you how people fixed themselves so that they couldn't have kids during enslavement, with herbs, whatever. I don't know what they did. And then if they lived to see emancipation, they had families because, you just have to I don't know. You just have to trust and learn and love. You can't shut down. And this is the thing with all the stuff that's going on, the legislation, the changing the rules, the George, the murders, all this stuff. I can't lock down as much as I want to. I can't lock down. And I do believe that is because I am going back to Oshun. I can't lock my heart down. I can stand firm and I can have I'm very strong with my opinion, like for what's right. But I can't just hate everybody. It's too much energy. Okay? It's too much energy. Can I just like something very strongly? Yes. But am I going to basically say, oh my God, I hate you? And I have said it. Look how easy it came off my tongue. Oh my God, I hate you. Okay, like I try not to say that anymore because I don't want to be locked into that energy. Because love is really the beginning and the end of things. It just, no matter how you slice it, right? And this is the thing, no matter how you slice it, dice it, talk about it, put it down, pick it up, love is the answer, period. Love is what will heal you. When you're holding on and you're mad, and when you're mad, like you could be righteously mad, which we got a lot to be righteously mad about. You have diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, like all of that, right? Running rampant in our hood, right? We have to learn how to, with all the stuff that's going on, we got to learn how to let some of it go. If we don't let some of it go, which I don't know what that is for everybody, it's different for everybody. If we don't let some aspects of this pain go, we will remain in the pain body and we will be sick. So sick that we can't even talk to each other. And that already happens with all this xenophobia, right? Okay. Within the Black community, African Americans don't want to talk to the Jamaicans. Jamaicans don't want to talk to the Haitians. Like it's just, and all of that separation, like for me, everything comes back to love, right? But politically, everything comes back to the plantation. Like all these separations happen. The plantation playbook is the same as it always ever was, to control and to make you feel like you don't love yourself and to keep you separated. Like we need, the thing is, if we just look at situations, whatever the situation is giving us this, we need to counter that. Whatever this is, hate, transphobia, whatever this is, you need to do the opposite of that. What is the opposite of this? This right here is aggression. What is the opposite of that? Healing, love. It's hard to do. It's so easy to say to. Now, that's really easy to roll off my tongue too. It's hard to do. On a good day, I've done my meditation, I've hydrated, I've got myself together, and then I could go outside and something could happen. Something racist could happen. Something could set me off, right? So how do you stay centered? How do you stay with that vibe? This is what I'm learning, to give myself room for the days when I'm not on that vibe, to be okay with that too. Okay? It's okay that I got mad. It's okay that I feel this way. It's okay that I stood up for myself. It's okay. If I have to cry right now, it's okay, because it's not always going to be like that. So, all of that, Nadine, is what I put into my work. All the stuff that we talked about prior, but all of this stuff right here, it's like, it's everything for me.
So what do you want your future to look like? Talking about conjuring. What are you conjuring for your future?
I'm conjuring for my film to be shown at the National Museum of African American Arts and Culture, because my book is already in the library there. It's like, I want to show my film there. In the future, what I want to do, I want to show my work in DC. I want to take my work home. I want to go home with my work. That's really what I want to do. I want my book, my I want the slave narrative of Willie Mae to be on Broadway. What do I want for my future? Um I want to make art and do those things. And what I want for the future, Nadine, I just want to be healthy. I want the world to be healthy. I want us to be healed. Okay. I want stuff for me, but I don't just want stuff for me, because the world is not just about me. So I want a future that has a lot of love in it, and colors, and good food, and friends. And did I say love? Yeah, that's what I want for the future.
What are you looking forward to doing this summer?
I'm going to the streets. The streets are calling my name. I want to go to a party. Okay, can I be real? I want to dance. I'm a house head. I love to dance. I want to go. So this is what I told my friend. I said, because I have a friend who's a DJ. He said, oh yeah, we're going to do some social distance stuff. Okay. I'm going to find some kind of, I don't know what kind of material, like I'm going to cut out a big giant red circle. Like, those circles you see at the CVS on the ground. And that's where I'm going to dance. And if anybody comes near my circle, I'm going to be like, you need to back up, because I got my mask on. That's what I want to do this summer. I want to dance.
Me too.
That's what I want to do. I'm so deconditioned. Okay, I'm the person, gym rat. I haven't been to the gym. I don't feel safe going to the gym. So I just want to dance. I miss that feeling of freedom. I miss that feeling of sweat and dancing, and I miss it. So I'm gonna make it my business to move more this summer. Physically move more, not just walk, but dance, express in that way. What about you? What are you gonna do this summer?
Well, I want to go to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to swim, because last summer I usually, in my condo complex, I usually swim every day, and our swimming pool was closed. So I hope that it's open this summer and I get to swim more, because I only swam a couple times last year, and I love swimming. But I do want to go to the beach, like spend time at the beach and spend time at water, to be around Yamaya and Oshun, and I love that energy. And I want to, I'm talking, I think on Friday or Monday, with a farm about having in the Caribbean, they have these things called crop over. And
Mhm.
so it's like a harvest party. And so it's in the summertime and it's usually in the field. So I want to have some parties at some farms
Mm.
because then you could socially distance.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you know that back in the day, I used to host parties. I used to run the African American house at Tufts. So we used to do lots of different parties. And so um, going back to that life, I'd like to, I think that people would have fun going to a farm party, and then there's enough room that people can naturally social distance. So
Yeah, if you do things where people feel comfy, they'll come because no one wants the kind of summer that we had last summer, afraid and locked up. And, people are ready to do that. And people do need to still wear their mask and do their thing, yeah. So I'm glad that you want to cook and you want to have parties. And I'm happy, I'm glad because maybe I'll show up.
well, they'll be intimate and exclusive, but you'll have an invitation always.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. We'll see. Like once I'm done, I know I'm just gonna need a big break, like I know I'm gonna need some.
Oh, after your film.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the
Um,
date. Well, it's yeah, the presentation, yeah, all of it. Getting ready for it, the rehearsals, which is just incredible. We had an incredible rehearsal last night. It was just fire. It was beautiful to see things come
do you go to
together.
Martha's Vineyard?
No, I'm not a vineyard person,
Hmm.
really. I mean, I've been. Um, I liked P Town better than the vineyard.
Okay.
But I haven't been. So yeah, I love the beach, like
Yeah.
yourself. I love the beach.
Well, I
So
like both. I like P-Town and I like the Vineyard. I like both.
mhm.
Yeah. They're very pretty and laid back.
Relaxing. This is what I love
Yeah.
about the beach. Yep. Nothing like
So
that salt water. It will take like I could go into the salt water and my shoulders will be up here. By the time I come out, I'm just like, like
yeah,
it
I was
just.
just thinking about today, like my favorite stroke is butterfly, and it's because you like use like your whole body, and so like your legs, you go like that, and then your arms and all that. And I was like, I miss doing the butterfly. No,
It's very dolphin like.
yes, exactly, and I like dolphins. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
so it has been a pleasure. We have 6 minutes, so we'll do the wind down because I know you want to eat. Um, so it's been a pleasure. You've like dropped so many nuggets of information. It's such a pleasure and a privilege to know you. Like, you're such a wonderful spirit, and your sharing of your knowledge with people and your vulnerability, and you're saying about being authentic and being truthful. I love that about you. I think that, I love people who are truthful and that where they stand. Being in New England, it can be hard when you're talking to people and they say one thing and you're like, do they really mean that? Like,
Well,
I
that could
like
be
people.
anywhere though. I mean, that's what I'm finding.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
so. It's especially true though for in New
You're
England.
you're you're right about this because people
Like
here
where
can
people, it's
be
like, well, do
evasive.
you like me? And they're like, yeah, I like you. And it's like, no, you don't. And it's like, I gave you the opportunity to tell me that you don't like me, and then you're telling me that you like me, and then I'm supposed to respect you, and you lied to me, because it's not polite to say like, oh, I don't like you. Well, I mean, I'm not saying that you have to do that, but you don't have to say, I like you though. And that's what someone will say. I like you. And you're like, they don't like me at all. And they told me that they like me. Like, why would they say something like that? I'm just won't say anything, or my face might say it, but you're going to know. Like, either way. So, but I appreciate your authenticity. I appreciate the work that you do, um,
Thank
to
you.
preserve our culture and our legacy and our traditions. You didn't talk too much about the Adarian, so people should look that up. Um,
Oh,
and the whole connection of indigo, and we could have gone, I've talked a little bit about the triangular trade, and like rum and sugar, molasses and indigo and all of that, and how people deny building wealth, but that's kind of really important and to think about. And there is a beauty that came out of that, but there is a lot of pain, and there's a lot of, it started at the top of talking about reparations, but that will be another program.
Yeah, I mean, um, yeah, a day is a big part of my life, a huge part of my life. Adire, a day. You can Google that, and you know, people say what came first, a day or Shaburi, but you know, the techniques are
Right.
very similar. So my thing is, when the continents were connected, of course, people traveled and they shared information. I mean, who came first? I do not know. I mean, I personally think Africa, because that's where everything,
Yeah.
cradle of everything.
Originated. Yeah.
Um, um, yeah, and I will say this. I will end with this. You know, like people want to give Miss Pinckney down in South Carolina all this credit about indigo. You know, la la la, woo woo woo. Yeah. Um, they took the best of us from Africa. Okay, they took dyers. They took people who knew how to plant cotton, how to grow rice, all of that. Okay, so Pinckney saw her enslaved people and said, "Come over here and tell me what you're doing." They told her because they had to. She couldn't even publish it because she was a female. She had to give it to her husband. So I mean, everybody was this. The women were enslaved. The black people were enslaved. Like it's like all of this around indigo. All of this around indigo. Indigo was our gold. We had real gold, and we had indigo, and we had rice, and we had cotton. We had all of this that we brought. People went and observed us, enslaved us, brought us here. Indigo is in our blood. It's everywhere. It's everything. Blue blood. Where does that come from? Like, I mean, let's like pick it apart. So no, I didn't talk a lot about Adede, but if you have me back, I can. And thank you all so much, Rose. It was a pleasure to meet you. Um, um, I'm
It's a
very
pleasure to meet you
excited.
as well. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Nadine, for having me. I really appreciate you and honor your work and the way that it's growing, the way that you're really focusing and doing your installations and all the other things that you're doing. I didn't know about your kits. Congratulations on that. Helping people to feel connected to the herbology and to their spirituality, you know, their first spirituality. So we carry these. You're carrying the baton. You know what I'm saying? You're passing it on. You're passing it on to your daughter, who's already making her smoothies. Like you're. Thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate what you said to me, and I just want to reflect that to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You know that I love you, and I
Well, I
appreciate you.
love you too. Thank you so much.
I appreciate being here, and you know that you influence my work a lot. All right, I'm gonna cry now.
Oh,
I'm gonna get off. All right, bye.
Peace and
Have a
love.
good night,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.